like to welcome Mayor McCormick, Mr. Anderson, Ms. McCullough, Ms. Ehrlich, Mr. Harris, Mr. Perry, Mr. Ward, Mr. Tominski, Mr. Dave Peterson, and members of the Peterson family. It is truly an honor to be here this morning at the Woodbridge High School Baseball Complex as we honor the great Mr. Harding William P. Peterson, a man whose accomplishments and contributions are unmatched. Before getting to that, I'd like to quickly acknowledge a few key people here today. Special guests. It's former Woodbridge High School baseball coaches, Coach Lammers. I saw you before, Coach Lammers. Welcome back, welcome home. Also, former baseball coach, Coach Urbano. Welcome home, coaches. I'd also like to acknowledge and congratulate Coach Monaco and the varsity baseball team who just finished a spectacular season, tied school record with 25 wins, a trip to the state sectional finals. Congratulations, team. Congratulations, coaches, players. 25 wins is huge. Getting to the state sectional final is tremendous. Here's a team that in the beginning of the season wasn't even ranked in the top 10 in the county, ends up being 19 in the state. So again, congratulations, gentlemen. Fantastic season. So proud of you. I also want to acknowledge someone who never gets credit, and that's our Director of Athletics, Mr. Ward. For those of you who don't, yeah, Mr. Ward, go ahead. Yeah, Mr. Ward. He's well dressed today, too. Look at him. Looking great, looking great. So for those of you who don't know, all right, Director of Athletics are the offensive linemen of school administration. For those of you who don't know that analogy, you don't hear about an athletic director unless something goes wrong. All right, so the only time you hear Mr. Ward's name is if, very rarely, if something goes wrong. But today, Mr. Ward did something right, did something great, so round of applause for Mr. Ward. Tremendous athletic director. Thank you. And getting over to the reason we're all here, Mr. Peterson. His accomplishments on the baseball field and in life are spectacular. And for those of you who might not know everything, beautiful plaque up here, which highlights a lot, but as a catcher, he was an all-state and all-county member in high school, at Woodbridge High School. Moved on to Rutgers University, was the captain of that baseball team. He signed an MLB contract with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1950. Instead of playing right away, he decided to go serve in the U.S. Army for 2 years during the Korean War. Played for the Pirates for 5 years, 1955 to 1959. And in one game, this kid from Woodbridge drove in Roberto Clemente twice and threw out Willie Mays when he was trying to steal. So obviously he played a catcher, so that's a tremendous accomplishment. One game doing that, that's just outstanding. So he had a baseball career that other people would only be able to dream about. And after his baseball career, what made him special was he could have done anything he wanted to do, but he chose to come back to Woodbridge and volunteer countless hours, countless years to the Woodbridge Little League to ensure the sport that he loved could be taught the right way and appreciated for generations of Woodbridge kids. That's why we have our rec program today. Thank you very much for coming, young men, and a tremendous Woodbridge High School baseball team because of what Mr. Peterson did. So because of what he stood for, because of what he wanted to always give back to the Township of Woodbridge and Woodbridge High School, bless you, whoever sneezed, that's why from now on, our Woodbridge Baseball Complex from today will be known as the Harding William P. Peterson Memorial Field. So thank you all for coming. It was a great event. And I would now like to welcome the fabulous Mayor McCormick to the podium. Mayor McCormick.
Thank you very much. Principal Lottman thanked everybody but one person, Principal Lottman. This is a man who does a terrific job with Woodbridge High School. I say it all the time. I'm out at all the events. Every time there's a kid getting an honor for athletics or academics or the arts anywhere, even if it's one kid and he's got 1,000 or more in his school, you'll see Mr. Lottman out there congratulating and being there for that one kid. So thank you to the great principal. This is an honor that's long overdue. I'm a diehard baseball fan, so I actually didn't know about Clemente and Mays, so maybe I'm not that much of a diehard, but I know a lot about Mr. Peterson, and this is very much a long overdue honor. But let me thank the guy that pushed this and the guy that never stopped pushing this, and that is Nick Sardone, who is I'd say the official historian of Woodbridge Township High School sports. I don't know what's going on here. But Nick never stopped. For years, he's been after me, and I'm sending all the memos to the school and saying, Peterson, we got to do something for Peterson. We got to do the field for Peterson. Well, Nick, we're here today, and I want to thank you for your persistence and perseverance and dedication to getting this done. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Sardone. And congratulations to the baseball team. Tying the school record is absolutely terrific. And to the Peterson family, welcome back. Those of you who are from Woodbridge, welcome back. If you're not, welcome. It's terrific that you're here today to celebrate this. So thank you all very much. Let me now introduce Dan Harris, a member of the Woodbridge Board of Education.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Ward, for coordinating today's events. It's truly terrific. Hardy Peterson joins a short and distinguished list of barons to have a facility named in their honor. Joining his coach, Nick Prisco, Samuel Lupo, and this fall, Henry Shemicki. That's the list, and most other schools have far less. And as the mayor had pointed out, Nick Sardone was the man behind this, and we're thankful. Typically, when someone comes to us to name, we as the Board of Education comes to us to name something after somebody, our first reaction is no. And upon inspecting Mr. Harding Peterson's record, the person he was, it became an easy answer. So Nick, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention, and long overdue in our opinion, of course. You have to be truly special for consideration, not just in career accomplishments, but in reputation and morals. And as you heard from Mr. Lotman, or Dr. Lotman, Hardy Peterson was truly a special man in terms of his contributions. And boys and girls, this is the type of person that you should look up to, not only trying to have success on the ball field, but trying to give back to your community. He's someone that you'll be reminded of every time you take this beautiful field, along with the plaque here. To the Peterson family, thank you for sharing him with us. We're truly appreciative. I know his little brother is here. Dave, I met you a few minutes ago. I can't find you at the moment. And as the mayor had indicated, guys, congratulations on a great season. Wish you all the best of luck, and kids, enjoy your game later today. All right, thank you. Thank you. And I'm now proud to introduce our athletic director, Joe Ward. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. And I want to thank the Mayor McCormick, Dr. Massimino, and the Board of Education, the Town Council, and we have Kyle Anderson here, Sharon McCullough, oh, there she is, I lost her, and Carolyn Ehrlich from the Mayor's office as well. Thank you very much. This is a great day, and thank you for such a great turnout. I do want to also congratulate our Woodbridge High School varsity baseball team and Coach Monaco on just an outstanding year. They gave us such great memories this year. This team had great leadership from their senior class, but they also are a very, very young team. So I know yesterday was disappointing, but I can't wait to see what this program has in store for the next couple of years. So great job, everybody. I know Dr. Lotman pointed it out, but I also want to welcome back two of our former head coaches, Jim Lammers. He won the 2000 GMC championship here with Woodbridge High School baseball team. And we mentioned that this team tied a school record with 25 wins. The other coach to do that here is Coach Urbano with one of his squads. So congratulations, Coach Urbano. And we can't leave out his trustful assistant, Coach Perry, who now also serves as our vice principal here at Woodbridge High School. I think it's very appropriate today that we will have these young students of Woodbridge Township playing here on this field, as Mr. Peterson was known to give back to the community. So I want to thank them for being here. I also want to thank Mr. Tominski. Mr. Tominski is the new youth sports coordinator for Woodbridge Township. He's doing a wonderful job, but he's also our girls cross country coach and our girls basketball coach here at Woodbridge High School. Getting to know more about Mr. Peterson, I think the things that really stood out to me, not only was he an amazing athlete, All right, but he did something that today's athletes, not many would ever even think about doing, and that is he put his career on hold to serve in the Army and go over to Korea. For that alone, I think this field, he's worthy of having it dedicated in his name. To the Peterson family, I know you guys are very proud of him, but we are also very proud of what he did for our country. So thank you for that. As a 8-year-old, and I was telling Dave Peterson this, I think my first memory of baseball was sitting on the couch in 1979 and watching the Pittsburgh Pirates win the World Series. And one of the things that they were known for is a song from Sister Sledge. I had to Google that, called "We Are Family," and that was their thing. They played that song throughout, and it always stuck with me. And then when this came up, it came back to me. And I think it ties into Woodbridge High School because we are a family here at Woodbridge High School, and they had the "We Are Family" thing. And when we put things on social media, we put hashtag "We Are Barons," and I think those two things tie closely together. For now on, when I do hashtag "We Are Barons," I'll be thinking of Mr. Peterson and the Pittsburgh Pirates and the "We Are Family." Another thing that Pittsburgh was known for, and I hope your brother was not responsible for this, but they wore the ugliest hats. I don't know if anybody remembers the Pittsburgh Pirates hat. Yeah, the pillbox hats they were called. But he did a great job there, got them to a World Series and won the World Series. But those hats always stick out in my mind. They still have them. Oh, you have one of them? Yeah, I have a couple. Okay. All right, so at this time I'd like to introduce his brother Dave, who's going to say some words. Dave spent 30 years in education here in Woodbridge Township. He was the Colonia High School athletic director for 2 years. Then he became the supervisor of physical education, driver's education, and athletics for 4 years, before becoming the principal at Avenel School 4 and 5 for 4 years, then the principal at Ford's Middle School for 13 years, and then he finished career at the best school around, Woodbridge High School, as the principal from 1993 to 1996. So no further ado, Dave Peterson.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is this working?
Yes, it is.
Good morning, everyone. I'll try to make my comments as brief as possible, but I would like to my family would like to thank a lot of people. And it all starts with the Woodbridge Board of Education and also Mayor John McCormick and the council, because I was in contact with Mayor McCormick and with the Board of Education on numerous occasions. I'd also like to thank the former superintendent of schools, Dr. Zaga, and also the current superintendent of schools, Dr. Joseph Massimino, for their support and encouragement in this endeavor. I'd also like to thank Dr. Glenn Lotman, who's the principal of Woodbridge High School, who spoke very elegantly today, and also Mr. Joseph Ward. Everybody spoke very well about Joe Ward, but I can tell you right now, he was in communication with me back and forth for weeks and weeks about this sign, the details. He sent me, can anybody hear me now? Yeah, we can hear you. Okay. He sent me detailed signs that maybe faded in the sun, and so we came up with this one. He recently called me just yesterday, just to remind me of the itinerary for today. So my hat goes off to Joe Ward. He's been everything as an athletic director, and I think Dr. Lotman put it very elegantly that, hey, the AD is only things that go wrong you'll hear about. If a bus shows up late or whatever, but they don't hear about all the good things. And it's even become more complicated now, Joe, since when I was athletic director at Colonia High School in the early 70s. So I want to thank Joe Ward. I'd also like to thank, very deserving. Also, I'd like to thank Nick Sardone. I think Mayor McCormick put it very, very well about he's been a motivator for all of these signs that were going on with Joseph E. Martino at the field house at Colonia High School, and also the Henry Shemicki track here at Woodbridge High School, and the Harding William Pete Peterson Memorial at the varsity baseball field. So, I mean, Nick Sardone is a workaholic. I said his best job would be, second job would be as a sports writer. I don't know, I told Joe Ward the other day on the phone that he's going to have to get on the list, you're going to have to put him on the list, Nick, to send him your updates. He'd read them. You're a diehard Yankee fan, I know that. You're like the mayor. But Nick Sardone was really very good. I'd like to thank David Wydell, who I know is no longer with the Board of Education. He was the purchasing agent, but he and I went back and forth dealing with the plaque that's in back of us right now. I took him the baseball card because I wanted an action figure of my brother holding the bat, and the one that's showing signing autographs at the Ford's Little League, Ford's Clara Barton Little League in back of us. It's dated. You can see it's back in the 70s, late 70s. So I'd like to thank David Wydell, although he's not here any longer. And I'd like to thank Bob Benny. He's a Ford's guy, but he's now living in Port Reading. But he's been always supportive of having this field named after my brother. He's gone back years and years and years ago talking about this field. And as a former Ford's guy, my brother would be very thrilled at the involvement that Bob Benny had. Vice, thanks a lot for your involvement. Now I'd like to just briefly mention my family members who are present today. My sister, Linda Matruska, all graduates of Woodbridge High School, by the way. Linda Matruska and her daughter, Daryl, who's a chiropractor right here in Woodbridge, across from the medicine shop. I'll give her a little plug in. My daughter, Kelly Peterson, graduate of '84. My daughter, Tara, with two of her grandkids and her husband, class of '96. Is that working now? No, we can hear you. Yeah, you can hear me anyway. Class of '96. Jamie Karavinchak and his daughter is here, and his grandkids are here too. So I'm trying to think. Jack Filipkowski. Where's Jack? Is Jack here? He's right here, sitting next to my daughter Kelly, and he's representing the Filipkowski family. That's my brother's, my late brother's daughter's son. That's right here now. Ricky's not here either. Rick Peterson's not here. He had a previous engagement. So I wanted to thank the family members. You know, it's ironic that we have a field named Nick Prisco Stadium, and above it is going to be the Harding William Pete Peterson Memorial Field. Nick Prisco was my brother's football coach and baseball coach in high school. And they were extremely close to one another. And they communicated back and forth, even in his career. And it's very befitting that the stadium is named after him down below. And his mentor is, my brother is up here, the varsity baseball field is named in his memory also. So they were very close. I says, all of you young people that are present that are here back of us today, and people here probably don't know who Harding Pete Peterson is. You know, I would suggest that when you go home, and maybe you do, you Google, because most of you are highly technical with your equipment now, you go home and Google Harding Pete Peterson, Pittsburgh Pirates. It'll come up with everything that's on this plaque and then more about his career, the Topps bubblegum card, the back and the front, and it'll tell all about his career, and it'll tell him, as Joe Ward said, winning the World Series in '79, the trades that he made were astronomical that he made that year, bringing Tim Foley from the Mets, playing shortstop, and had a career year in RBIs and in batting average. So I just wanted to mention that. So you go home and you can Google that. I just wanted to finally mention, my brother lived in Florida. He loved Florida. And I couldn't get him to come up here at all. But we communicated and talked to each other just about every night. And he was a big fan of all sports, and we talked about all sports. And he always mentioned about Woodbridge High School. He always wanted to know how Woodbridge High School was doing, whether it be in football, whether in basketball, because he played all three, and baseball. He wanted to know what's going on. He'd be thrilled to know that Mike Monaco and his team won 25 wins and tied the record by Coach Urbano. Unfortunately, yesterday didn't turn out the way it was, but still 25 wins is a huge, great season for you. But he was a fan of Woodbridge High School right to the end. I can remember visiting him in Cranford at rehab. He would always ask me about Woodbridge High School. How they're doing? How's Woodbridge High School doing? And he would say, well, not this year, it'll be next year. And he was also a big fan of Turner Classic Movies. We talk. He loved that look at Turner Classic Movies, TCM. And I have that channel at home, and we compare movies all the time. And one of his favorite movies was Yankee Doodle Dandy with the late actor James Cagney, who played George M. Cohan, and who was a playwright, a songwriter, and a performer. And he performed with his sister, and with his mother, and his father, and himself. And after every performance, he would end up saying, I thank you. He says, my sister thanks you. I'm going back a little bit. My sister thanks you. My mother thanks you. My father thanks you. And I thank you. And in closing, I'll take it a little further by saying that my grandparents thank you. My mother and father thank you. My late sister, Sarah Karavinchak, thanks you. My sister, Linda Matruska, thank you. My brother, thank you. And I thank you. And thank you all for attending this historic event. I appreciate it very much, and my family does as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. No, kind words. Thank you. All right, I'd like to call up members of the Peterson family over here so we can unveil the sign. We're going to count it down. 3, 2, 1.